Hi, my name is Dixie, and welcome to everyone's favorite time of year, the Goodreads Goal Crunch Time. Yay! As usual, I overpromised my Goodreads goal and underdelivered. So instead of enjoying the holiday season as a nice chill time, I've decided to try to make up the books I need to reach my goal, which is only actually 40 this year. My entire goal is 40. Normally I do 50 books. But yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, I just didn't prioritize reading this year, and I read some longer books, and I'm a slow reader, so it's taken me some time. And every year I debate, should I do the Goodreads challenge? Should I not do the Goodreads challenge? Is the challenge helpful or harmful? I think it's largely not great, if I'm honest. Look at me. I'm disheveled. I'm stressed out. I'm finding the smallest books on my shelf. Okay? I'm actually really excited about this one. Throwback. And I have Selenite 1 through 3. So yeah, join me as I try to scramble to get to my goal. I will be using audiobooks, and I will be focusing on finishing up a couple books that I'm already reading, one of which is on my Kindle. It's called it's a long title. Essentially, it's How to Write a Hallmark Christmas Movie, which I also plan to do before the end of the year, is to write a Hallmark movie. So I've got a lot to do, and I'm hosting Christmas, so we'll see how this goes. I'm going to take you along for the ride. I will give updates. The first book on the chopping block is Bear by Marian Engel, which is an award-winning Canadian book, Canadian author, and it's actually copyrighted in 1976. This book I found at the charity fundraiser book sale, and I just got it on a whim. Sometimes I like to pick up skinny books for my end of year craze. And this one just so happened to be one that a Canadian friend of mine told me was pretty controversial. Now, I am already on to chapter 6, page 27. Yes, I dog ear. I have a billion bookmarks. I'm a dog ear. I'm a book abuser. If a book looks too pristine, is it really loved? I don't know. Anyway, so far this book is about a woman who works for a type of historical society. I think they call it an institute, historical institute. And she has been just going through all of these possessions that people leave to the institute because basically they don't want to throw anything away and they think it could be of value for historical reference. So she combs through all of that. She's been doing it in a basement of this institute, and it seems that she's been kind of on the edge of losing it, just with all the solitude, even though she enjoys it. And then they are bequeathed a property in, I believe, like a northern-ish Ontario area. It's on an island. And she is sent to catalog the huge library of books that the person had left behind. So that's kind of where I'm at in the story where she gets there. I will say the language is fairly old-timey. The pacing is pretty slow. She uses the word bulk a lot to describe things. Like the house was bulk. I don't really understand that. An interesting point that I saw in the first few pages is the man who brings her to the island, because she has to be transported via boat, is named Homer, and I'm wondering if that's some kind of a nod to like the Odyssey and the Iliad and whatnot, but we will see. It's been many years since I've read that, so I probably, if it is an allusion to that, I probably won't understand it if I'm totally honest. There was one line so far on page 9 where the author says, she was still not satisfied that this is how the only life she had been offered should be lived. Let me read that again. She was still not satisfied that this is how the only life she had been offered should be lived. And I find that such a poignant and relatable thing because, especially at the end of the year, we look back at your year. My husband and I this year tried to have a word of the year, which was responsibility, which I could not remember half the year. So you can guess how that went. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of reflection and reevaluating probably a midlife crisis. Probably the same thing every millennial is going through right now is, what am I doing? What am I doing that's working? What is not working? What do I want the second act of my life to be? And so I'm hoping that this book kind of delves further into that as she embarks on a new adventure, but we will see. So I cannot wait to finish it, if I'm honest, so I can move on to Silent Night. I don't know if I've read this. When I was a kid, the Fear Street Super Chillers came out. The Fear Street sagas came out. And I found a seller on eBay that was selling them, the original copies too, not reprints, for fairly cheap. So I did go ahead and I bought an entire box filled with R.L. Stine Fear Street specifically. I did read Goosebumps when I was a kid. Don't have as fond of memories as Fear Street series. So I will be reading this. If it goes well, I might actually go ahead and read the second and third books. I did pick them up in this haul. And then the final book I have here, which I don't know. I mean, I got to try to find books that are around 200 pages at this point. Anyway, it's called An Ocean in Iowa. This is a used copy. It's very dirty and stickered up, and yeah. But Peter Hedges was the man who wrote What's Eating Gilbert Grape, the novel. I think he also wrote the screenplay, but I did read What's Eating Gilbert Grape, the novel, and I found that it was not nearly as good as the film, which shocked me. So we'll see how this goes. It just says, in a small Iowa suburb, Scotty Ocean has announced that 7 is going to be his year. It does turn out to be his year, but not quite the one he had imagined. So that's the beginning of the synopsis. So it follows a 7-year-old main character. And the pages on this are, the leading is pretty forgiving, meaning like the space between, the white space. So I'm really hoping that my slow reading can knock this one out. Yeah, so those are the kind of, those would be 4 books, so including the Hallmark book on my Kindle, and then these 3. I am supposed to be buddy reading a book as well, which is Little Women, which I didn't think I'd read before, but I looked at my Goodreads and I'd given it a 2 stars like 8 years ago, so I probably listened to it on, I think back then I was doing book on CD for my long commute, so I'm going to give that another chance, but that'll have to wait until January. And that actually brings up a good point of, am I going to set a Goodreads goal for January for 2026? I don't think so, because I have a hard time if I have a strenuous goal, or if I have to meet a certain number of books. Obviously, that would be the goal, but I read slow, and sometimes I want to read big books. I might want to read, what's it called? The House of Leaves this year. And I just finished My Friends, which was my favorite book of the year by far. And this, to me, took a long time. It was over 400 pages, I believe. Yeah, 434 pages. Sorry, I take the dust jackets off because I cannot stand it. It's like a sensory thing. But if I just stuck to a strenuous reading goal, I might not pick up something that's 400 plus pages. So I don't think that's gonna work for me. And like when I was in my early 20s and reading books, I would read 2 to 3 books a week just on my own, like without a goal, without the pressure of having to check the goal, without snooping around to see how many books my friends had read or not read, what their goals were. I don't need to gamify reading. That's not why I do it. So I think this will be my final Goodreads goal. So I do want to go ahead and knock it out. I'm also listening to, some people are real purists about reading and audiobooks, but on Spotify, there was a ton of fun little Christmas stories And I'm reading one called Christmas Land right now. So I will... Oop, lost you. Where'd you go? So I will go ahead and finish that one up, Christmas Land by Anne Marie Meyer. Kind of corny, kind of great. I'm really into corny right now. I don't care because I want to write my own Hallmark movie. So it's good for that. So yeah, hopefully we can get it done. We'll see. Hopefully I'm not being too rambly. I just wanted to say those few things, check in with you guys, and then I will go ahead and give reading updates for The Bear first. And then I might do a subsequent video for Silent Night and maybe the sequels, and then we'll do a video for this as well. So, welcome to crunch time, baby. Can we do it? We'll see.